I was born in Cincinnati, Ohio. My grandfather was a cavalry officer after graduating from the military academy in 1869. And my father was in the Army, went to college for a year, and I was in the class of 1961 at the Naval Academy. I lost my vision and it went to 2300, and I didn't even know if I was going to be able to graduate, but they did give me the opportunity to go into the Supply Corps, which is the business end of the Navy. So the first ship I went to was the USS Valcour, which is a seaplane tender. I enjoyed that first tour, so I decided to go to a second ship, the USS Navasota, before I left for Vietnam after the 1st of January of 1968. I just ruined my ankle. I went on board the aircraft, did my crutches, and went to Vietnam. And by the time I got there, went to see the Commodore, and I walked into the office in my crutches and on my cast foot. He said, "What are you doing here with a foot like that?" I said, "Captain, this was my opportunity to use everything I learned at the Naval Academy and in the Supply Corps. And I didn't want to miss this opportunity." He said, "Okay, Maxon, you screw up or miss an assignment, you're out of here." Mobile Riverine Force is 100 Mobile Riverine boats. There were 5 ships in Group Alpha, and these ships were like LSTs that had been converted to be barrack ships or repair ships. And then the 9th Infantry, which they would live on the barrack ship, a company would go on each boat, and we would insert them into the canals to fight the VC. To protect them and provide a remote support, we'd have monitors, and they had like a big, like a 155 caliber gun on each one of these. And we also had a flamethrower. End of March 1968 is when Tet started, and Tet was a national holiday for the Vietnamese, both North and South. One of the cities that was overwhelmed was up in I Corps, which is up in DMZ, all the way in the north of South Vietnam. We got there in the afternoon at the Naval Support Activity Qua Viet, which was right there on the DMZ. At the crack of dawn, the VC attacked the base with rockets. I was down inside my office in the Codex box when all the explosions started. And we all raced across this open area, and the shrapnel from the explosions hit my flak jacket, knocked me down, never injured me. I'd get myself up. Every one of us was hit by flak, and we raced behind the barrier where the Marines were guarding the base. And I always carried a camera, a little 110 Minox camera, in the pocket of my flak jacket. Got behind the barrier and took my camera up like this, above the barrier, and the concussion from the explosions made my finger down on the camera, and I've got this fantastic picture of the explosion. I re-injured my leg during that thing. They had to send me off to Dong Ha, where there was a MASH unit. He taped it up. I went back to Qua Viet and continued the job. Frankly, remember it with a great deal of fondness, because I was doing what I was hired to do. I was doing it well, and they honored me for it, and I didn't get killed. I met my wife when I was in San Diego, and we dated for about 6 months before I went to Vietnam, and I wrote 340 letters to her out of the 365 days I was there. She saved all those letters, and about 10 years ago put them in the book. When I went back to look at the letters, I found a passage that I had put in one of the letters of why I wanted to stay in the Navy. I was very proud of my contributions. I felt that I was doing well. And so it looked like to me that if I stayed in the Navy, I would have a reasonably good opportunity to go up the chain of command and have a successful career. I think the most exciting and the most rewarding was the Vietnam tour, frankly, and then the command tour. I enjoyed writing that study that got so much good review, both in Congress and in the senior naval hierarchy, that ended up bringing 1,800 new jobs into the Navy. You know, when I talk to young people, I can't tell them how important it is to get your education and to look for opportunities that take advantage of that education. And so from a risk-reward relationship, I think it makes a lot of sense. I'm glad that the all-volunteer force is successful enough to have people join the Army, Navy, and the Air Force, and I always support that.